Now, I welcome on the stage, let me see the name I had tried to tell you, Gabriele de Propis. I hope I pronounced it more or less all right.
Not really.
He's gonna teach you how to farm in the digital age and see if you can save some water in the process. Please welcome Gabriele. Actually, welcome him, please. Yeah, there you go.
Hello. So I hate public speaking, so you've all been warned. And because I don't really like public speaking, I thought we'll do things a little bit differently. So I'm going to do a reverse Q&A. So I'm going to ask you questions. You're going to give me the answers so I don't have to speak too much. So I'm going to start with this. How many liters of water does a person eat daily? So what I'm actually asking is, how much water is needed to produce the food that we eat every day? And I want wrong answers only. So if you actually know the answer, please don't say it. So somebody's going to go around with a microphone, hopefully, and any volunteer. And please volunteer, because otherwise it's going to be very long, 20 minutes. Gentleman at the back, please. Microphone to the gentleman at the back, please.
Five liters of water?
How many? You said 5.
5.
5 liters of water. Okay. Any more? Somebody else? I'm going to tell you it's a lot more. Quite a lot more. Like really a lot more. 200 liters is a lot more. Go on. Huh? 1,000 liters of water. More than 1,000 liters of water. 20,000, that's too much. Okay, so. Now, let's look at it in, with a little bit more detail. If this thing moves, otherwise. An apple. How many liters do you think there's going to be just in a very humble apple? 5 liters of water. 70 liters of water to make 1 apple. Carrot. It goes up, by the way. 150 liters of water. Fries. 1,000 liters of water. Corn. 1,222. And my favorite, this is just a very small 200-gram steak. There is 5,100 liters of water. So just imagine the last time you had a mixed grill, you probably consumed 10,000 liters of water, 15,000 liters of water. Now, why am I starting with this? Because fundamentally, water scarcity is food security scarcity. So when we talk about water scarcity, what we're actually saying is, it's not that we don't have enough water to drink, it's that we don't have enough food to actually farm and to eat. So, what is the world doing to improve this kind of system that is inevitable? Smart agriculture. Now, I'm going to talk about what I know about smart agriculture, what we do in my company, but there's a lot more. Every single piece of research is smart agriculture, every greenhouse is smart agriculture. So, what we do is basically all around data. So data is extremely important to actually build some intelligence on top to be able to solve these massive issues. In order to get data, we use satellite, we use IoT devices, and we use drones. And obviously, everything has to be tied in together with some form of software. Now, if we apply the right amount of water to our food, what happens is we decrease drastically the amount of water that is needed for whatever we need. So you can see it's not very linear. So it very much depends on the kind of crop that you have. But generally speaking, you can see the difference. Now, next question. We're all here for the World AI Summit. Does AI play a role in agriculture? Yes, I want a little bit more than yes. So what kind of role does AI play in agriculture? Any volunteer? Optimization of water. Yes, very good answer. How do we optimize water with AI? Just enough. That's exactly right. So agriculture is a science. In the past, people used to be born on a farm, grow up in a farm, die in a farm. So they basically knew everything about farming from the very beginning, from when they were born. We like to say that they used to put the finger into the ground, look at how, whatever was the level of moisture, how wet was the soil, and they could understand how much water they would need. Now the world is changed. We don't really do it that way. So instead of putting the finger, we put a sensor more than anything else. What else? What else can AI do for agriculture? I can't hear you. You need a microphone. Very good. You get an advisor role in my company. Yeah, very good. So this is detection. So any kind of predictive model works extremely well in AI, as long as you have the correct data set. Yeah, great. Anything else? One more. Weather. What about the weather? What can we do with the weather? Predictive season. I would say we can also do something else. So we can adjust whatever plan we have based on the prediction of the weather. So there is a plan in place to water 200 liters of water. AI detect that it's going to rain in half an hour, so let's delay the watering process in order to wait to see how much water is falling. Great, very good. Now, specifically here in Qatar, what can AI do for Qatar's agriculture? So let's just think about what we just said. What parts are applicable to here? Start with the weather. Well, the weather here doesn't change that much, you know. That's relatively relevant. What else? Anyone? Pest detection, yes. So when it comes to disease, there are some problems here, especially for palm trees, as far as I'm aware, with some very specific pests that can actually destroy them. So absolutely, that's one of the things that AI can do over here. I can't hear you. Can we get a microphone to the lady at the back? No? Can we get a microphone to the lady at the back? Weather patterns. Yeah, weather patterns. Although I would argue that the weather here is so extreme that really the best tool is in protected agriculture. So the real difference can be made in greenhouses, vertical farming, those kind of situations, because we have to try and minimize the stress that the harsh condition apply to the crop. Okay, let's move on. What are the implementation challenges in the GCC? And now we can talk about AI, but we can also talk about smart agriculture in general. So what do you think are the challenges here in the region? Huh? Correct. So that's one of the biggest challenges, but it's also probably the biggest opportunity. So AI can really do a lot for water management on a macro level. So absolutely, that's one. But I'm more looking for cultural challenges. And I can tell you that the soil itself, correct. Yeah, so there's a very high level of salinity in your water, and therefore your soil has a very high level of salinity. It's not just for Qatar, it's for the Middle East in general. Again, the solution here, I would argue, and this is quite an unpopular opinion, is that it's not desalination. It's mostly efficient use of the resource that you have in order to stop getting water from the wells at the bottom, but to actually start getting a little bit higher, because salt is a solid, and therefore you find it at the bottom of the wells. So in reality, correct use of water should decrease in years the level of salinity of your soil. But for me, the biggest challenge is the reluctance to change. And that is not just for the GCC. I'm Italian. We've been doing smart agriculture for a few years in Italy. We have products in Italy, Romania, Greece, Albania, and Spain. And everybody is the same. You know, everyone says, I'm going to do farming the way my father did. And he did it the way my grandfather did. And sometimes he did it the way his great-grandfather did. So the bottom line is it's resistant to change. And that, I think, is the biggest challenge that we're facing now. But let me tell you why I'm actually optimistic about this region more than actually am towards Europe, where I come from. Because the pace of change in this region is much faster. If you look around yourself in Doha, you can see that in the The Sheraton Hotel was completed, I think, 1 year after I was born in 1982. So and that was the first big building that was built around here. And so in 42 years, they've come an extremely long way. So I believe they're more used to change than we are in Europe, than we are in the West in general. So again, I'm hopeful. Now, if he moves. Quick wins. So we want to bring AI, smart agriculture here in Qatar and in the GCC in general. So what are some quick wins? And let me tell you something. Last time I've asked this question probably to somebody, they gave me a great idea that we're going to implement. So if you can come up with another great idea, I'll be extremely grateful. So what kind of quick wins you think we could implement using AI, smart solution, whatever it is? Nobody wants an advisor job.
Increase yield. Increase yield.
How?
Of course, I mean, they'll produce faster. It's artificially stimulated.
Yes. Artificial stimulating. Not sure that can be done, because nature has its course. So what smart agriculture really does, it doesn't change the way nature works. It just moves the needle towards perfection. So there's been lots of studies around agriculture, and that's why we're able to do what we do, because we already know the end result. So we know the perfect amount of water, the perfect amount of nutrients, in exactly what kind of percentage, in whichever stage of the culture is needed for the plant. So because we already know where we need to go, we're able to move the needle closer and closer to that. We never reach perfection, but we get closer and closer. And that's how we increase yield. Does it make sense? But I'm actually asking for, I'll tell you what somebody told me, so just to give you an idea. Somebody told me, we are building something where data are actually explained in natural language using a trained LLM model, not something particularly sophisticated. So, because the problem that we had is that when you go to a farmer and say, okay, your soil has this volumetric water content, this electrical conductivity, this pH, this amount of NPK, means nothing to them. So we thought, okay, let's explain it to them with natural language, it's going to be better. Somebody told us there's a better way of doing this, which is do it with infographics. So get the result, whatever it is, and just tell them what to do, not to use in natural language, but using infographics. So just show it to them. They want to upload a picture that says, oh, I think there is some form of disease here. Let's just answer with a picture. And therefore, it gets easier for them to actually act. So I'm looking for something like this. Some ideas on how we can have some quick wins, something to implement quickly so people try it, they get passionate about it, increase yield, they save natural resources, and everybody wins. I'm going to start asking my team if you don't come up with that. But, so you got my head of innovation that is nodding his head as you say virtual reality. So I'm actually scared of this suggestion.
Like to
Because
scan,
we might
it's much faster than to send the infographics. It's much more efficient because when the farmer will just put a pic, like the photo on the plant, it will give more information than the infographics. And I'll tell you something, not all the people, they have the ability to read those infographics. Still, it's not for everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Giuliano, shall I leave and we start developing now? Or yeah, yeah, that's a good, I'm not sure how quick it is, but that's a good idea. Okay, well, I'm going to move on. I don't have an answer to this. I was genuinely looking for an answer from you. Now, I'm gonna leave you with my thoughts at the very end. And then if you haven't had enough of the Q&A, you can ask me some questions. What we are ultimately trying to do, and what I believe is really going to add value to the global food value chain, is to look at the AI and the data for agriculture on a macro perspective. So we think that data collection is the most important part to be able to apply AI to agriculture. We think that it's only by having a global database that is geolocalized, so we know where it is, what it is, and how they're cultivating those places, AI can be effective, not just to increase yield for a particular person, but to actually solve the real problem that we have, which is hunger around the world. And that's it. I'm going to thank you. Usual stuff. There is a QR code if you want to talk to me on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions for me, I'm here. I didn't hear.
Hello. Yeah, hi. The fact is like ChatGPT uses around 500 milliliters of water for writing one email. So is it really sustainable?
From what perspective you think is sustainable?
So AI uses a lot of water, okay? So what you're presenting is it really saving water and how is it sustainable?
Yeah. I think when you actually, I think I've read an article about the amount of water is used to cool the servers for ChatGPT. I don't think that people realize how much water AI could actually help save. So 70% of fresh water globally is used for agriculture. So it's either the food that we eat or the food that the animal that we eat. So in reality, when you think about 70% of the global freshwater use, the amount that is used for ChatGPT is, or whatever other cooling server you're talking about, it's totally irrelevant. And to be honest with you, when I saw the article, I just felt like replying, you're talking rubbish, because that's the reality. Reality is that AI could be used, AI could save in 1 hour enough water to power itself probably for a year. So I really don't see that as an issue.
Okay, thank you.
One more question? One more question? Anyone? Anyone else? No? I don't think so. You asking now?
I know. What was the question? I'm really sorry. Oh, okay.
Actually, I want to know more about what exactly your service is doing. Maybe you can...
So we are a smart agriculture company. We have IoT devices for monitoring and automation. So we collect data, analyze data, and then we place automation in place based on plans that are done by agronomists. This is something that we've been doing for many years. What we're trying to develop now, or what we are developing now, is an AI that does two things. So number one, what the gentleman said, something that explains data to farmers. It's just, I don't want to call it simple because my head of innovation gets annoyed, but it's a trained LLM that does that. And then the part that is not so simple, which is developing a deep neural network to actually give advice based on a specific data set and situation, with a little bit of convoluted neural network in there in order to analyze images. And the part about the database is about moving the data in a way that is trustworthy. So the way we're doing it is we're using data from satellite or data from IoT or actual interaction between the customer and the platform. So we use real data that is verifiable either from a machine or to a machine. And then we use those data, we put those data on blockchain. Not because we are lovers of blockchain and crypto, but simply because blockchain is the kind of database that is time and immutable. So whatever data goes in there, it's exactly what happened. And data, not just agricultural data, every single kind of data is only as valuable as its provenance. So we hope to create an infrastructure where the provenance is extremely strong, and therefore you can build intelligence on top of that that is as strong as well.
Very complicated.
No, not that. You can find me later if you have any more questions. Thank you very much. You've been really nice. Thank you.